Here we go. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Chandler City Council. At this meeting, there's going to be recognitions and many of you are here for that. After that meeting, I will gavel out and then we have a study session which relates to the council meeting on Thursday. And at that meeting, we will be voting on the items that will be discussed. Many of you are also here, I think, because of wanting to speak related to a park. We only received one specific request in advance for scheduled public appearance. So if you filled, I think you were requested to fill out a written comment card, and those will be entered into the evidence. If you would like to come and speak on Thursday night as an unscheduled, which many of you came tonight, then you're welcome to come back and we would love to hear you. But just public meeting law kind of sets the guidelines concerning these. So with that, clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando,
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Our invocation tonight will be brought forth by Pastor Kelly Hand from Desert Palms Church and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Encinas. Pastor.
I'm first. Should I?
No, you're first, sir.
Okay. So my office admin told me I had 2 minutes, and I thought, do they know I'm a preacher? First, I've lived in Chandler 18 years. My wife and I have raised 4 kids here, 23 to 14, got a couple at home. And so I come to pray for you and for the city with a sense of great gratitude. You all, this is an amazing city to live in, and you do a lot of amazing work behind the scenes tirelessly. Scripture tells us to pray for you, and I think one of the reasons is because leadership is hard, and there is always going to be someone who is upset with you after you've made a decision. And you walk away from these meetings with that, and I know that, and so I pray for you. My heart goes out to you in that. But my prayer for you is that you would do good. And my hope, so if I may be so bold, my charge to you is that you would do good. My hope is that you would do so with a sense of joy and gratitude as well. Let me pray. Almighty Father, we pray and I ask that you would bless these councilmen and women with wisdom beyond their collective years. Your word clearly says that you put those in authority over us, and we're to submit to their authority, but to pray for them as well. Pray for them, their peace, their well-being. For it is to you that they will give an account. So please bless this city council and the meeting this evening. May there be peace as people bring things that are passionate to their very hearts before this council. And may the council have insight to do what is good and true. And Lord, I pray that you would give them wisdom beyond their collective years. I pray you would bless this great city and her citizens. Lord, bless all the city workers and those elected to serve. Equip them with all that they need to continue to make this such a great place to live. And just thank you for the joy of living here. In Christ I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor, for your words. If you please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Council Member. Next on our agenda is scheduled public appearances. I'd like to invite Vice Mayor to join me up front. First on our list of scheduled public appearances is service recognition. So I'd like to call on our city manager, Josh Wright, to begin this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. We do have 3 employee service recognitions this evening. And for the first, I'd like to call up our Cultural Development Director, Kim Moyers.
Good evening, Mayor Council. I'd like to call up Terry Reddick, for her 10 years. Terry was hired by the Chandler Center for the Arts in 2014 as the assistant manager. Terry holds a BA in theater with a concentration in arts administration. She is a next generational leader in venue management with a certification from the IAVM Venue Management School. She is also a Fulbright grantee and taught English as a second language in South Korea. Under Terry's leadership, the Arts Center has seen the completion of numerous successful capital projects and vast operational improvements. She has expanded the center's educational and engagement programs, which now serves over 7,500 youth a year, and has reduced the barriers of participation with free and low-cost arts experiences. The Cultural Development Department and the Chandler Center for the Arts are fortunate to have her as part of our team. Thank you, Terry, for all that you do to bring arts to Chandler and to our community.
Mayor and Council, for our second service recognition, I'd like to call up our Chief Information Officer, Sandeep Dalokia.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'd like to introduce or invite Laurel to please come forward. We're celebrating her 25 years of service to the city of Chandler. And as always, I'd like to cite a poem for her. For 25 years, Laurel's led the way, a tech innovator since that fateful day. August 9th, 1999, she came aboard with a mission in mind in her tech-savvy sword. From GIS maps to cultural events, even with this big water project, she's known for her diligence. Archives secured, cybersecurity tight, Laurel's made sure we, especially me, can sleep well at night. She crafts with paper, travels with flair, Greek food's her love, no dish can compare. Her art's on display, her work's world class. She's the heart of the team, no one can surpass. So here's to you, Laurel. With cheers and delight, for 25 years, you've kept our city bright. We thank you today with much admiration for your endless passion, your heartfelt dedication. Congratulations.
City manager, I'd like everyone to write a poem.
Mayor and Council, for our third and final recognition tonight, I'd like to call up Matt Burdick, our Communications and Public Affairs Director.
Mayor, I do not have a poem, but I do have a video producer that I can pull up. So I asked Stacy Sacco to come forward to be recognized for her 25 years of service. So Stacy, it's a great pleasure to recognize her. She's our digital media manager. She's made tremendous contributions to Chandler over the years. She leads the dynamic digital media team here at the city. The award-winning, in fact, we'll have an announcement later tonight. We have our first Rocky Mountain Emmy nomination coming to the city of Chandler. So Stacy and her team, they operate our cable channel. They bring this dynamic city council meetings to the city, our YouTube channel, and countless videos that are such an essential part of the way we communicate with our residents and businesses. She's created a team and a work environment that has elevated the quality and the volume of videos produced by the city. Digital media is an essential part of how we communicate with our residents and keep our business community informed. and Stacy and her team have done tremendous efforts to bring all of those different programs and events and projects into front of people. This year, she managed the digital media upgrade to the production studio, cameras, lighting, and broadcast control room. A significant investment. It's taken months, probably years off of her life in the course of doing that. But we're grateful for all of the talent and the contributions and the team that she's built here at the city. So thank you, Stacy, for your 25 years of service to Chandler, and we look forward to many more years ahead.
Mayor and council, that concludes our service recognitions this evening. Thank you.
And Stacy, your family is in the audience? They are. All right, let's have them stand. Stacy's family. All right. Next, we have our first proclamation, which is Library Sign Up Month. So I'm going to do this one. Then you get Domestic Violence Awareness. All right, welcome. Yeah, let's scoot over here a little more so we're centered. There you go. Oh, you're sashaying. I like that. Whereas libraries are vibrant hubs for community connection and learning, providing free access to a wealth of diverse programs, literature, and resources. And whereas the Chandler Public Library is a place for everyone, offering free and equal access to educational materials, technology, and services that support lifelong learning for people of all ages and backgrounds. And whereas Chandler residents have access to a free library card serving as a passport to learning and adventure within their library, whether it's exploring online or visiting one of Chandler's 4 branches. And whereas Chandler Public Library cardholders can search thousands of physical books, magazines, movies, and music from their local library or access digital resources from anywhere, including ebooks, audiobooks, streaming media platforms, and language and professional learning. And whereas during Library Card Sign-Up Month, we celebrate our libraries and encourage residents to register for their Chandler Public Library card, empowering them to pursue their interest, unleashing their creativity, and achieving their goals without financial barriers. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Library Card Sign-Up Month and encourage all residents to sign up or renew their library cards and visit our Chandler libraries and explore all that they have to offer. Woo! So is someone prepared to talk? Is that you? All right, so let me go and get everybody's name and then you get it.
Debbie Moreno. And where do you work? I'm the manager of the Sunset Library.
Karen Nall, and I'm the manager of the Hamilton Library.
Joelle Miller, manager of the Outreach branch.
Sue Van Horn, the assistant library manager.
All right, and I'm Rochelle Kuzik, and I am the library manager, and I am so happy to be here to represent the library and Library Card Sign-Up Month. We are doing something different this month. Have you ever been in an airplane and you take your seatbelt off early and they say, "We know who you are, put that seatbelt back on"? Well, we know who you are if you don't have a library card. And we're coming for you this month. This year, we have 3 limited edition library cards, a Snoopy library card. If you've never had the nerve to get a tattoo, you can get a tattoo library card. And if you're particularly supportive of the freedom to read, we have one that says Let Freedom Read. And so for all new card holders this month, you're getting first choice at one of our 3 new card designs. Existing card holders can come in on October 1st and choose from one of these 3 cards. And I want to put a card in the hands of every single Chandler resident. They're telling me I'm crazy. I say it's possible. So please come and see us this month. We want this to be the best. This card has more perks than any credit card you can put in your wallet. So we want you to come in and get one of these and make this the most popular card that you carry around. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right, let's take a photo.
Which one do you want? You
Oh.
want Snoopy? Do you want Tattoo? Do you want Let Freedom Read?
Let's go with the tattoo.
Oh, good choice.
I can now say I have a tattoo. All right, Alexis. Come on, Sue, you can do that after.
Giving council a sneak peek.
Oh, yay.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Vice Mayor. If we could call up members of our domestic violence team.
Come on up. All right. Whereas 1 or more children witness domestic violence every 44 minutes in Arizona. Whereas children who experience child abuse and neglect are at an increased risk of continuing the cycle of domestic violence as adults. And whereas cycle of intergenerational family violence have ongoing impacts on public health concerns, such as substance use, employment rates, educational level, rates of homelessness, and whereas research shows that safe, stable, nurturing individuals and supportive environments aid in strengthening families and reducing harm. And whereas together, the City of Chandler Domestic Violence Commission, law enforcement, prosecutors, and community agencies educate and support families to help prevent domestic violence in Chandler. Now, therefore, the mayor, Kevin Harkey over there, City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Okay, we're going to go around and pass the mic and introduce you and say who you are and what you do.
I'm Sharon Tipton. I am a substance abuse specialist as well as domestic violence specialist, and I help others to find resources and get into safe housing if they've been a victim of domestic violence.
Hi, I'm Michael Morris. I'm a volunteer. I'm not part of a professional organization, but I just show up and do what I can and try to advocate for this really important issue.
Hi, my name is Samantha Hinchy, and I am the Director of Victim Services for the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence.
Hi, I'm Katie Kane. I'm the Victim Services Senior Program Manager at the Police Department. I oversee the Family Advocacy Center, where we work with victims of crimes, including domestic violence. And I'm also the staff liaison of the Domestic Violence Commission.
Hi, I'm Selina Imam. I'm Executive Director for Sahara Programs. We have a domestic violence shelter, free health clinic, and also we do refugee services. Also, I'm the Commissioner for City of Chandler Domestic Violence Committee. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dawn Curtis. I'm the Director of My Sister's Place, a domestic violence shelter here in Chandler. And I want to thank the mayor and the vice mayor and the city council
for their continued support in this very important issue and invite the community to our 16th annual Domestic Violence Awareness Month on September 24th at 9:30 in the morning at the Avion Center here in Chandler. Thank you.
And thank Councilmember Ellis for your work at our region with the Maricopa Domestic Violence Commission as well. Thank you all. We'll see you all next month. All right, next we have recognition. Drum roll, please. There you go. For Neighborhood of the Year finalist, we could have Priscilla Quintana come forth, our Neighborhood Preservation Program Manager, and our Galveston representatives. Oh, we got a banner. All right. All right. And why don't we go around and say who you are, and then we'll turn it over to a speaker.
Hello, my name is Francisca Hernandez.
I'm Wendy Robinson.
Ruth Maya.
Rowan Kale.
Luca Kale. Katie Kale with the Chandler Care Center.
Tony Alcala, principal of Galveston Elementary School, former student.
Ray Carney, Live Love.
Letitia Gilmore with Neighborhood Resources.
Oh.
Jason Nathan, Neighborhood Resources.
Paul Gunther with the Live Love.
Melinda Gunther with Live Love.
Leah Powell, Neighborhood Resources.
Well, very good. And
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Priscilla Quintana. I'm the Neighborhood Preservation Program Manager, but also Galveston neighborhood is a neighborhood that I grew up in. And today I'd like to share that the Neighborhoods USA, also known as NUSA organization, recognizes work being done in neighborhoods across the United States with a variety of award categories, from Neighborhood of the Year, Best Neighborhood Program, Neighborhood Newsletter, and Who's Who in America's Neighborhoods. During the 2024 NUSA conference, staff had an opportunity to deliver a presentation on one of the many neighborhoods here in Chandler. The neighborhood selected this year was Galveston. In 2020, the Galveston neighborhood located in central Chandler was selected as the first to implement the City of Chandler's Envision program. The 1 square mile neighborhood includes over 1,400 homes, three parks, top-rated schools, 2 nonprofits, and a family resource center. Notably, Galveston Elementary has played a pivotal role in building trust and collaboration between the city and the community. Local nonprofits and family resources such as Casa de Vida, Live Love, and the Chandler Care Center provide essential services including youth programs, mentorship, healthcare services, and support for domestic violence victims. Previously struggling with crime and deterioration, the neighborhood has transformed with residents, local stakeholders, and city staff working together to restore pride, safety, and cleanliness. The collaboration efforts have fostered a more unified, empowered community and have led to ongoing beautification and construction projects. The strong relationship developed through these initiatives continue to support the neighborhood's growth and improvement. As a result of the work that continues to be done, Galveston neighborhood was selected as a finalist in Neighborhood of the Year category. Congratulations to Galveston residents and all those involved in making Galveston neighborhood a place where people love to live.
all right, I'm going to hand this to one of my favorite principals, and then we'll take a photo.
As a former student, Galveston, growing up in the neighborhood as well, and now the proud principal of Galveston Elementary School, we are going to open a brand new state-of-the-art campus On October 8th is our ribbon cutting, and we are so, so proud. This finalist award only shows how much we care in that neighborhood and how much the city cares about us as well. So we've heard it, we feel love, and we appreciate Mayor Harkey and council for all of the support that you guys have given us over the past couple of years. So thank you very much. Drive by Galveston Elementary School sometime soon because you will be amazed.
Ruth in the front. She's short.
Great, thank you.
All right, let's do it. All right. Boy, what a great evening of presentations. And we're not done yet. I'd like to invite the Si Se Puede Foundation's Women's Underwater Robotics team as they won the international competition. As they're coming up, you're going to see a video show on the monitors there. So come on down. We would like to recognize Desert Wave, a collegiate robotics team recently placed first, get that again, first in the 27th International RoboSub competition. The team competed against 41 teams from 8 different countries and entered 2 robots who worked in tandem named Dragon and Baby Dragon. They are the first all-women's robotics team to win a world championship and are already planning for next year's event. We want to congratulate Desert Wave for this exciting accomplishment. And so with that, let me again each introduce yourself. And who would you like to, Freddie, would it be you or somebody else talking? All right.
My name is Nancy Esquivel Vasquez.
And where do you go to school?
I go to Arizona State University.
Hi, I'm Gabby Hernandez, and I go to Arizona State University.
Hi, my name is Natalie Rodriguez, and I go to Arizona State University.
Hello, my name is Paulina Garibay Jaques, and I recently graduated from Arizona State University.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Castro, and I'm also an alumni from ASU.
My name is Dr. Daniel Frank, and I'm a professor at ASU.
My name is Freddie Lajvardi. I'm the CEO of the Si Se Puede Foundation, and we operate a STEM center in Chandler. We have one of the top high school robotics teams in the country, and we have the top underwater robotics team in the world. This is in your hometown.
And Gabby, you grew up at Galveston Elementary, right? All right. So Tony, where's Tony still here? All right. Amazing from hometown Chandler to become global champions. That's super cool. So we're excited to hear that. There you go. 2 of your students. All right. Let's take as part of this, our Contigo Festival, I believe we're going to be showing spare parts coming up at Look Theater just about 10 days from now. So that'll be exciting as well. Let's take a photo. Scoot this way, guys. You can center.
Thank you.
One more. All right, another round of applause. All right. Next on our agenda, we have Dwayne Lidman, scheduled public appearance to talk on the Parks Master Plan on Orange Tree Neighborhood. And I know I spoke this. I know I spoke this at the beginning, but those of you who came hoping to talk on unscheduled, we don't offer an unscheduled speaking portion on Mondays. We do on Thursdays, but if you filled out a speaker card, those will be entered into the record. So, Mr. Lidman, you have 3 minutes. Give your name and address for the record.
Dwayne Lidman, 2301 West Palomino Drive, Chandler. Thank you, Mayor Harkey and council members for this opportunity to speak. As you know, the Orange Tree neighborhood has never had access to a neighborhood park and has been historically underserved by the Parks Department. And 10 years ago this month, we had a record-breaking rainfall event that breached our stormwater retention basin and flooded our streets. At that time, it became apparent that the Orange Tree Basin might be under-designed. In 2021, Kimley Horn and Pros Consulting were hired to update the park's master plan. They received a very large number of comments about the lack of park access within the Orange Tree neighborhood. As a result of this robust public input, the park's master plan indirectly includes our neighborhood in North Chandler as a recommended priority action through 2028. A redevelopment plan was recently approved for the tract of land that includes the Orange Tree Retention Basin. As a result of the efforts of our city manager and several department directors, this redevelopment will deliver a small park and a retention basin that will meet the current design standard at zero cost to our city. I am thankful for the city staff's effort and the home builder who is willing to take on this challenging redevelopment. Due to the high site development costs, the home builder had to add additional lots to pay for the small park with a tot lot. As a result of these added lots, the northern portion of the retention basin needs to be deeper than 3.5 feet. So this requires a perimeter fence for safety. So this 2.8 acre area will not be available for public use. I was told by city staff that there are civil engineering solutions that can reduce the depth of the retention basin so the fence could be removed, and this could be considered after the redevelopment as part of future park improvements. Within the park's master plan, neighborhood parks are rated as a high priority item by Chandler residents. Our new park will be 1.7 acres, and the master plan recommends 6.7 acres for a neighborhood park for our number of residents. The Parks Board has shown an interest in additional improvements to the 2.8 acre basin area, and the Orange Tree residents would like our city to complete the final phase of this redevelopment. We are before you tonight to let you know the residents of the Orange Tree and Heatherbrook neighborhood would like our city to consider alternative stormwater management solutions for the Orange Tree retention basin so the fence can be removed after the redevelopment has been completed. Then this area will become available for public use and additional park improvements. Mayor Harkey and council members, we are asking for your support to further correct this neighborhood park inequity that has existed for more than 43 years as a priority action by 2028. Thank you for your consideration of our request.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Linden. I know the conversation will be ongoing, so thank you, sir.
Okay,
Mayor, real quick. Mayor, Councilmember. Dwayne, I want to thank you for all of your work you've done on this for the last 6 years, 7 years, and leading this effort, as well as your due diligence in coming to almost every council meeting, almost every work session. So I think you're the 8th council member here. I would think you could probably do a lot of, certainly appreciate your efforts. And again, let's get this property deeded to the city first, as the plan is, and then we could take a hard look at what we could do to reimagine that area, okay?
And Councilmember Orlando? I have tried to make him the 7th Planning and Zoning Commissioner many times, but, all right. Thank you, Council. That concludes all of our scheduled public appearances. And again, anyone who had filled out a card, those will be read in, or those will be entered into the record. Next, Council, we have our consent agenda of our regular meeting. I know that there is a staff presentation on item number 2, our bond committee. Let's give a moment for everyone to leave though. But you're missing out on exciting stuff. I just want to say.
Yeah, your parks in this.
Easements, sewer lines.
New parks.
Just wait a minute, Matt.
Mayor, I've cleared a lot of rooms before, but not like this. This is all-time high. So.
I've never seen him in 7.5 years.
Matt, while we're waiting, what do you call a starving hippopotamus in Budapest?
I do not know, Mayor.
A hungry hippopotamus.
Oh, I hope it's better than that, but we'll see. There are a few slides before so the suspense will build for it, so that'll be good.
You give him credit. Give him credit. He puts himself out there,
Absolutely,
right? Let's be fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Matt, it's yours.
Of course,
go ahead.
The mayor did wait till everyone left before he shared his. So, all right, Mayor and Council, it's good to be before you tonight to talk about this ordinance number 5109, which is a bond exploratory committee option for you. As we go through, we'll be sharing some information, just a brief history. We'll keep this very brief about why the need for it at this time. So traditionally, GO bonds cannot be issued without residents authorizing them first. And so the city of Chandler over the last many years has had many bond elections. These are some of the most recent, 2000, 2004, 2007, which gave us a lot of authorization, which we anticipated to use between 5 to 7 years. However, with the economic downturn, that lasted 14 years before we had to go back out for another election. So that typical cycle of every 3 or 4 years was broken at that point. 2021 was our last election that we were successful on. And we've always had great success with our residents upholding or allowing us to have that authorization for the capital projects that meet the needs of those residents. Just a quick review of what the process has been over the last few months. In March, we came to you for a budget workshop number 3, where we went through the whole capital plan very in depth. And we shared with you some of the concerns that we had about the future years of that capital plan. Because of that, we also had a council retreat where additional feedback and information was provided to staff, and then a council work session. Out of those events, we have kind of 4 identified areas. The first is bonds are a vital part of our capital plan, with about 70% of our project spending utilizing bonds. When I saw that 70%, it reminded me of another fact that I recently was made aware of, that 70% of the Earth's surface is water, and the vast majority, that 99.9% of that, is uncarbonated water. So now we have scientific proof that the Earth is flat. There you go. Yeah, hungry hippos might win. Yeah. All right. So 70% of our capital planning is utilizing bond funding, so it's a vital piece of that puzzle. Inflation, however, over the last couple of years has really utilized our existing bond authorization faster than anticipated. And we also discussed with you that bond election timing and how 2005 would probably be the most ideal time to go forward with that bond election. 2006 was another option. 2007 is where we have some significant issues with our capital planning. From that, you gave us the feedback to start the communication process. You all were going to start reaching out to constituents and to those that you have a influence and have discussions with them. And you wanted us to reach out to boards and commissions, which we have been doing. So from our boards and commission meetings, we've been able to share information about the capital plan and the need for a bond election coming up. With 11 so far of the planned boards and commissions we would visit of the 15. We have 4 left, 2 of them tomorrow, and then another 2 in a couple of weeks to be able to share this information with them. So far, the general consensus from the boards and commissions has been they're very appreciative of the information. They understand the timing of the bonds, and there's a few notable quotes that we mentioned there as we've been able to share this information with those participating in the boards and commissions. So what would this resident bond exploratory committee look like? It would be made up of a steering committee of 7 members, and then 4 of those steering committee members would serve as subcommittee chairs for 4 different bond authorization categories: parks and recreation, public safety, facility sustainability and technology, and public works. So in total, that equates to 31 people that will be helping in this process, 31 residents that will be helping through organizing the projects, look at funding opportunities, and then provide back to mayor and council recommendation as far as what they would consider to be the most apropos way to go about getting this bond authorization out to our voters. So the timeline for our exploratory committee, on Thursday night, it would be to select the actual committee participants. We would have quickly turn around a kickoff meeting on September 16th. Through the months of September through November, the committee meetings would take place. And then in December, they'd have their final recommendations back to the steering committee. That steering committee through January and February would be drafting a report that would be presented to mayor and council sometime in February, March. And that way mayor and council can make their decision by that May 8th deadline if we were to call an election for November 4th, 2025. So our next steps, appoint the community members who will serve on the steering committee would be on Thursday's council meeting. Hold a kickoff for the participants on Monday, September 16th, and then finally begin those subcommittee meetings. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you. And I appreciate the work, in particular in going around to our boards and commissions and council, the work that you've done likewise. Interestingly, at one of the presentations, one of our board and commission members asked if they could serve. So they're also on that. So that is very good, as well as Mr. Lidbin, who is an advocate for lots of things in our community as well. Council, the only other comment I wanted to make is we had a wonderful event on Saturday, a double event with the ribbon cutting at our softball fields and the groundbreaking at our pickleball courts. And both of those items are coming forth as a result of the last bond. And there is certainly an appetite to complete the projects that we've said, and there was great enthusiasm at both of these events to see these projects coming forward. This will allow us to continue to work through the plans that we had and projects that we had committed and seeing what else that is available. Council, you have the ultimate say on what is approved and what will not be, but I appreciate each and every one of you too. I know the sensibilities in looking ahead was to keep the secondary tax flat is the recommendation, and we'll see in the future councils have the ability to do whatever. But I appreciate each and every one of you council members for your work on this and support on this. And what other questions does anybody have? Councilmember Lando.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize. I thought you were going into the mayor's announcements. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Yeah, this is great news. But the other thing I would hopefully caution all of us here at the dais, as well as the bond committee, is take a look at capacity. I don't want to be here 2 years from now saying, gee, we under capacity. Let's get as much capacity as we think we could do over that 5 to 10 year period. And then if we sell the bonds, and it's very simple math here, you sell the bonds, then you pay for the bonds. If you don't sell the bonds, you don't pay for the bonds. So let's make sure that let's encourage as much of capacity as we can and not be able to worry about, is it going to fit the, I mean, we always want to worry about fitting the timeline for assessed value. I get that. But again, let's make sure the CIP is covered in a predominantly way, so we're not back here 2-3 years from now. So, and the other question is, do we have a thought process, or at least where we want to go on the bond for amount that we think, or is that going to still be
Yeah, through the
TBD? Is there
mayor,
min-max somewhere?
Councilmember Orlando, we have an idea because we have our 10-year capital plan that was just adopted by mayor and council in June. But that does not include, there's certain new projects that we'd like to add and have the bond steering committee discuss those projects as well. So not only do we want to ensure our current capital plan is covered by this bond authorization, but we want to make sure that any new projects that have come forward over the last year or so are also included for potential bond authorization as well.
Attention. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Stewart, and Councilmember Stewart, then Councilmember Ellis.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate this process, right? At the end of the day, this goes to the voter, and they decide whether or not this is something they want to continue with, amenities, et cetera. Can you remind me again, the real big reason why we're having to go back out?
Yeah, so through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, one of the main reasons is due to inflation. So a lot of the project costs have increased back in 2019, 2020, when we were gathering information, inflation rates were normalized then. We have since seen those inflationary rates skyrocket across construction items specifically. And since all of these deal with those construction items, it's been impacting our capital projects. So we can't get as far as we anticipated. We hoped for 7-8 years worth of coverage in our CIP. We're going to get about 4, maybe 4.5, depending on the category worth of coverage out of these areas, though.
So in other words, the fallout from this federally induced inflation continues to ripple through. It's not just bread and milk, but now it comes down to whether our kids have parks that we had planned for 5-10 years from now. We have to go out and continue to keep the tax rate higher. Otherwise, we would have taken that away.
Yeah, through the mayor, council member, because of inflation, it's just meaning we can't get as many of those projects in as we anticipated. Yeah. So we have to either spread those projects out or cut back on the quality of the projects that we provide. Our preference is to have this steering committee to have those discussions about what they would recommend going forward to the voters with.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Councilmember Ellis.
Trying to turn it on. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your patience and the team's forthcoming ideas with this bond. I remember when we first sat down to talk about that, we were not all on the same plane, but you guys took to the plan and keep bringing information as we requested them in order for us to have this cohesive idea that we all for it right now, because it was not the case in the beginning. So it is very commendable to say that as an innovative city, we also bring things forward, that we are thinking out of the box also to make sure that the taxpayers see what we say we're going to do. We're going to continue to do it. I want to thank Dawn, where is she? Right here, for really, you were really, what I will say, very much into my ears, explaining it over and over, because I wanted to understand the process. I wanted to know why we needed to go back. One of the things that I really appreciate about this process is always never to say no right off the bat, because we don't know the details. We don't understand the whole concept per se, even if we've gone through it before, which I had when I first came in. But what you have done was taking me from one step to the next, explaining the whole process over and over again, to put me in a position where today I can say that freely I am all in for this bond. So thank you. Thank you to the staff and all of you for doing that. Josh, thank you so much for sticking to your guns on this one.
Council, any additional comments? Seeing none. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Team Chandler. That concludes our regular meeting, the Chandler City Council.
To vote on
Post motion.
vote on the consent.
Thank you.
I
Thank
move.
you so much.
Mayor,
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I
Motion,
move.
so I move, Mayor.
All right, go ahead.
Let's go with Councilmember Ellis. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Orlando. All right, Council, please vote. Thank you, staff.
Motion carries unanimously.
Woo-hoo.
Council, I got so excited about this bond. coming up. All right, welcome to the September 9th, 2024 study session. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando,
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Council, 3 items have been called in, and I was the first one. A simple question to my friend Brennan Ray in the back on item number 10. Brennan, we talked on this, and I shared with you, I just had a singular concern in terms of staff had brought up some concerns related to safety for pedestrians. I asked you to work up what it would look like for a pedestrian coming by. So address my concerns of pedestrian safety at that point.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Brendan Ray, 1850 North Central, here on behalf of the applicant. I put together a very brief presentation to answer the question.
Thank you.
Specifically, as it relates to it, the discussion came up at the Planning Commission between members of the Planning Commission, staff, and myself when looking at a particular concern of pedestrian safety, especially as they should they come across the site from Cooper Road heading west, not only to this site, but as well to the Walmart as well. And so what you can see on there is a black and white site plan, but I'm going to show up and blow you a detail that's on your screen now. And at the discussion at the Planning Commission meeting, it was that we wanted to make sure that vehicles traveling, especially exiting out of that drive-through on your left-hand side as you look at it, that there was a way that they would do it. We had initially thought we would put speed humps there, but through talking with the commission and members of staff, we decided to put a speed table there. And then what we did on those 2 driveways on the right is enhanced it. Initially, it was a more narrow strip of pavers, something texturally that people feel in cars as they drive over it. And so we've widened that, almost nearly doubling the width of the amount of pavers that exist there. So that when you look at it kind of in elevation view as best we can, you can see there, and this is the exit driving through. On the right, you can see the detail of it in terms of how that speed table will look, and that's the A and the B below it. I will tell you that that is an approximate 3-foot length of a slope that occurs for that speed table as you go down. And it's tough to tell when you've got a big building in there, but you can see hopefully that the idea was that the pedestrians would be elevated as they were crossing in front of those vehicles exiting the site.
And let me ask city manager or staff, is it, again, my main concern here is just the school off to the west there and students that are passing by and perhaps not paying attention. I think this slows cars down, and I'm grateful. Would it be appropriate could we have student crossing or some other signage there too, just to draw further attention to the drivers to look both ways coming on here rather than whatever their attention is to the items they're getting out of this particular drive-through?
Sure, Mayor. We'd be happy to, whether we need to add another stipulation before Thursday's meeting, or if me saying it on the record is sufficient enough, but we have no problem putting signage interior on the side on our parcel that would identify probably pedestrian crossings is how I would do it at all of these. I don't think that's a problem to do.
Okay, yeah, to me that would be helpful. I'm just concerned of students not paying attention and again, someone coming out juggling whatever food or beverage that they've got here.
And Mayor, if we may, we will work with staff to ensure that there's appropriate signage in appropriate locations as you come across this frontage.
Okay, thank you. So if whatever language is appropriate, I appreciate, and certainly we'll be voting this. Council, any other questions or comments related to Mr. Ray? No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item called in is item number 29, the IGA with Mesa Unified School Districts for Police Department Security Camera Systems Emergency Access. If Chief Chapman going to make a presentation. Thank you, Councilmember Poston, for bringing this forth.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to give an update on the IGA that we have engaged with Mesa Unified School District for camera access in emergency situations that occur on their campus for only schools that are inside of the Chandler city limits. This IGA is similar to the one that we have with Chandler Unified School District, where police department will have access to cameras when incidents of an emergency nature occur on campus. This happens in coordination with our dispatch center and their administrative offices who grant us access to that information so we can get a real-time look on what's happening on campus and direct resources appropriately. This does not allow for anybody in the police department to have unfettered access to any camera at any time. This is strictly laid out in the IGA, which the city attorney can talk through the legalese, if you will. But that is the high-level overview of it, and I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
Councilmember Poston.
Thank you for that presentation. Just to confirm, could you walk through the process? If there's an emergency, do they call 911 and then it automatically happens? Does it work where someone at the school says, yes, you can have access? How does that exactly work?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Poston, in a perfect world, this would be where there's an incident on campus, and through that initial 911 call, we would be in conversation with the administrative offices, and they would be able to grant us the access. I will tell you, this has not been tested in real time in our world yet, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of chaos that ensues in an emergency situation. So we're trying to lay out a best practice on how it would unfold. But if you can understand, if it's a big campus and the emergency is on the other side of campus, there's going to be a little bit of learning here to see how this works in real time. So fingers crossed we don't ever get to that point, but we know that seconds matter, and the sooner we get information, the better prepared we can to be respond to it.
Okay. And then next up, are other schools in the other school districts in the city going to be working through the IGA?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Poston, yes, we're working on finalizing one with Kyrene School District, and then that will fill out the complement that we have here in the city.
Okay, and is this all part of our real-time crime center? Is that it'll integrate with that?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Poston, that's a separate issue.
Okay.
Well, we may come back at a later time and talk about maybe modifying this based on some of the enhancements with the technology that we have in the real-time crime center, as opposed to what we are handling within our communications and dispatch bureau.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Council, other questions? Well, I've got one. I know we've got a few private campuses, whether it's Valley Christian, Seton, are some of our basis. Is there any ability or interest in their part at also being part of this?
Mayor, as we expand our capabilities with our real-time crime center, that will be the nexus by which we bring in all this information. And certainly as we are growing that as we live right here with just camera access to traffic cams, and we will be onboarding businesses and anybody else who wants to participate, schools. We would encourage to engage in that process with us, and we'll be coming out with some education material and how to do that probably in the next 30 to 90 days as we get a little more steady-footed on our real-time crime center.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor.
Councilmember Orlando.
Yeah, Chief, obviously this is a little premature, but I'm assuming once we get this operational, you'll be doing some test scenarios to ensure that this is working and the timing is working, and any bugs, we could work that out.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, that is the intention. As you can imagine, the number of software and hardware issues we're dealing with in our real-time crime center right now, we're trying to get that perfected before we start testing anything in real time. But there's no better way to prepare for a disaster than to test for one. So we will be moving forward with that towards the last quarter of the year.
Okay, great. So that was my next question. When do you think you might have that last quarter? Thanks.
December 31st.
Appreciate it. That's fine. That's last quarter. So New Year's Eve, you're going to be out there testing. Okay, fair enough, Chief. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Looks like no more questions. Thank you, sir. Our last item called in, also by Councilmember Poston, has to do with our advanced metering infrastructure. Jeremy Abbott for the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak briefly to you about the benefits of AMI and how AMI or advanced metering infrastructure differs from our current metering systems.
That's a pretty picture.
Sorry, I'm not sure why this isn't showing up.
Alexis to the rescue.
No, you think these were all the same? I'm just trying to advance this one.
Yep, other direction. There we go.
All right, I apologize for that. So getting back to the difference of our current system versus what an AMI system looks like, really there's two main components, the advanced meters as well as the fixed network. In the graphic that you see here, what the fixed network is comprised of is a combination of gateways, um, located strategically throughout the city. They're comprised of an antenna, a power source. In this example, we have the ability to power them via solar, depending on the location. We do have an agreement in place with the school district to locate some of these gateways on field lights located at schools, again, to give us that overview and that coverage throughout the city, as well as the collector. The main benefits of AMI really come down to what AMI provides to the customer. The goal here is improved water conservation, reduced high water bills, as well as reduction in high water calls and or concerns. AMI also provides for improved meter accuracy. These newer meters that we're using have a longer life, and they retain their accuracy through the end of their life, unlike some of our older technology that degrade over time. So to just give you a brief overview, the flow of how this data is going to work within the proposed AMI network. As a consumer uses water, that water is registered by their meter. That meter will now have the ability to talk and or speak to those gateways located throughout town. Those gateways will retain and push that information into our AMI software, with the ultimate goal of pushing that then through a customer portal to the customer directly. So they will have the ability to review their bills, receive notifications, and see what their water usage is on a, I'll say, daily basis versus, a month-to-month water bill. This graphic here shows just some examples of what this portal might look like. Currently, the staff is in the process of procuring the portal, and so the end result may vary. But again, just kind of examples of what the customer would see is the ability to view their historical usage compared to current usage, whether it's seasonal or monthly, receive notifications. Uh, we would push out notifications if the system notices consistent water usage. Say, for example, you have a leaking toilet valve and then you have water running 24/7, or you have a spike in your water usage from your current or your past historical average, maybe emphasizing, a leak in your irrigation system. It'll also provide data to our customer service reps to better assist and help those customers during those, say, high water usage phone calls or any other call that they may receive related to water usage or their utility bill. And another use and benefit of AMI and using a customer portal platform, such as one of these examples here, is in the event of an emergency main break. We would have the ability to notify those affected residents via that platform versus reactive and waiting for those residents to call in to inform them of the possible duration of that outage. So again, it just more constant communication with our customers. And lastly, in terms of schedule and the progress that's being made. So the Public Works and Utilities Department has been working with a lot of internal stakeholders such as customer services, water conservation, and IT to develop and get this project to this point. They've also worked really hard to leverage some outside funding sources in the terms of grants. We have an EPA grant and also a WIFA grant, just totaling under $1.2 million to help pay for this integration. So as you can see here, we've got a couple of things happening concurrently over the next 18 months. That's the installation of the gateways, installation of the necessary meters, as well as the procurement and implementation of the portal, which is what our customers are going to see. With a rollout tentatively scheduled for spring of 2026. And the goal with that is to roll that out to all of our customers essentially at the same time. We're not planning on this being a phased approach. We're not going to identify certain neighborhoods over another. We'll roll this out to all of our customers essentially at the same time in that spring 2026 timeframe. And so with that, that concludes my brief presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Poston.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you for that presentation. This is one of those things that when you first read it, it seems very highly technical, which it is, sort of maybe isn't easy to grasp, but your description basically showed why this is something that affects, of all the things we do, all of our residents, every single one of them on a daily basis. And I really appreciate the fact that we are going to be proactive. I know we already are, but even more so in proactive in one, conserving water, and two, letting residents save money when they have those issues. So I really appreciate that. I didn't realize there was $1.2 million in grant funding going to this. So that's excellent. I know that's something that council has charged staff with to look at that grant funding. So that's appreciated, City Manager. Thank you very much. And then you did answer my final question. We have begun installing some of these though. Is that correct?
None of the gateways have been installed yet.
Yet.
We do require formal approval from the EPA before we can start spending some of those grant funds, but we are ready to start procuring as soon as we receive that, and we expect that any day now.
Okay, I thought from your chart showed that we had some of that already, but no? Maybe I looked at the wrong year.
Oh, okay. It's been a work in progress. As far as, I will say, we have purchased some gateways to do some internal testing.
Excellent.
But not part of the overall fixed network
Okay.
that would be tied to that EPA grant funded.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I just really do think this is something that is really going to help our residents, and that's what we're here for. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, then Councilmember Ellis.
Yeah, just want to, again, Chandler is a city of innovation. I think this is very innovative. I just kind of wanted to know how many cities, if you know, in the state of Arizona that's actually implemented such a program.
So I do know that the city of Surprise is in the process of implementing AMI. Tempe is also working on implementing AMI. I do know in general that a lot of the cities in the valley are in various stages of working towards reaching full AMI as far as metering technology.
So will we be able to kind of do it first before put that first meter out before everyone else?
Well, I will say we do have some of those meters out, but they can't necessarily speak to us through a fixed network that we don't have yet. I can't say with any certainty that we will be the first, but we will be close second.
I just think that them bragging rights when I'm around them will be great. But thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Great presentation. I understand the fact that how we're doing it internally, but one thing that I wanted to ask, how does the customer, which is our residents, get that information? Because I know in the past we talked about using their phone. So can you talk a little bit more about that so they understand how they're going to be able to access that information?
Yeah, through the mayor, Councilmember Ellis. Yeah, there will be multiple options for the customer to obtain that. And as we get closer to that actual rollout, we will work on some public outreach and post some information on our website on how they will obtain that and download that portal. The options that we're looking at is via your phone, but also via the web, the internet, via a computer.
We will not be emailing them any information. They will have an app that they can go on.
Correct. Yes, that's the goal of the portal.
All right.
And it's not necessarily a requirement. That's there for the customer if they choose so.
Mhm.
The alternative is still we would still communicate with them via mail, how we currently do with billing.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
And one last question from me, perhaps, is you'd mentioned the packets of information were daily. I was under the impression that could it be a little more spontaneous than what would be the just restate again, how often could someone check? I mean, could I check if my daughter was taking too long a shower, as opposed to I had a leak in the backyard, or my wife could check if I was taking too long of a shower?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. So good question, and really it comes down to the amount of data. So I won't say it's real time because we won't be pinging every single meter, 87,000 meters every second of every day. But we can look at 15 minutes or hourly would probably be more realistic. Daily is, I think, probably conservative. It depends on, I guess, the individual. I know I use the SRP Power app, and I'll check it, every once in a while to see, okay, how much is my family turning down the thermostat in the middle of the summer too, But so I don't know if that answers your question, but it won't be minute by minute, but more realistically hourly usage and update the portal at that level.
Okay, so it's potentially available more than a daily, although people might check it at that. So
correct.
Okay.
The information is always available, but the rate in which it updates would vary and more likely be at a daily interval.
Okay, thank you. Council, any other questions? Seeing none, no others have been called in. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, staff. Thank you, council.
Fun little meeting. Follow after.